Hello, everyone. Quick heads up before we start today's episode. The Global Agile Summit is happening on May the 4th. Yes, May the 4th, and even with a big blowout Star Wars party, you have to join. It will be online, and it's, like always, free to attend. We have 4 tracks this year that I'm really excited about, and I think you will too. Stick around to the end of the episode to know what they are. If you want to check it out already now, you can check it out at bit.ly/Global Agile 26. That's the numerals 2 and 6 at the end. So one more time, that's bit.ly/Global Agile 26. All one word, all lowercase, and 2 and 6 are the numerals 2 and 6. So stick around till the end of the episode and I'll tell you what's in store. But for now, on to today's episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to one more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. And this week, joining us from the other side of the world relative to me in Tasmania is Peter Merel. Hey, Peter, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Pascal. My pleasure to be here.
So let me tell you a little bit about Peter. He's credited in the first Agile book, that's XP, or Extreme Programming Embraced, by Kent Beck. He noted the first Agile conference, which I believe was XP 2000, right?
Mm-hmm. About 9 months before Snowbird.
There you go. Invented the first Agile training game, founded the X-Scale Alliance, authored the Agile Way, and developed software by hand for 40 years. Coached Agile in person for 20, and is working now on revolutionizing the AI alignment landscape. And I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about AI in software development during this week, so stay tuned.
Can't help it.
But before that, Peter, how did you get started? How did you become a Scrum Master?
I guess I became a Scrum Master by stealth. So I was involved in the formation of what came to be known as extreme programming. I was on Ward's Wiki from about 96 onwards. And it was a couple of years before Kent turned up with these wild and wacky ideas called extreme programming. I thought it was nonsense. I was working at Hewlett Packard at the time, and I was trying to do lightweight process there, which was difficult to do because HP in Southern California was not very fond of lightweight anything. But we managed to get a couple of execs over the line to try a lightweight process called Evo Fusion. And we had some success with that for a couple of years there. But when I saw what Kent was talking about, I tried to shoot it full of holes. I put up a bunch of challenge questions and he sliced through those like a knife through butter. And so I thought, okay, I need to try this. And so the book hadn't come out yet. And his ideas were very controversial on Ward's Wiki, but I thought, well, I was about to leave HP anyway. So I went into interviews for about 2 weeks. And every interview, that was interviewing as a software architect. In every interview, I said, well, look, I'll do the role, but I'll only do it if we can do this thing called extreme programming. And the guy on the other side of the desk would say, or guy or gal would say, or non-binary would say, what's that? And so I'd explain, and they go, no, we can't do that here.
It's too extreme. It says right there in the name.
There you go. I tried not saying the word extreme. That didn't help much. Anyway, so I bumped into a hiring manager, a wonderful man named Mark Anderson, and Mark said, that's great. Yes, that's what we need here. And so I took the job. And one thing I didn't know was that Mark was not going to be my manager. He was just a hiring manager. So that was good. It really sort of it put me in a situation where I had undertaken to do something I didn't know how to do, with a bunch of people who didn't want to do it. And
sounds like the perfect Scrum Master role.
Yeah, it is really. It's one of those things where you have to learn on your feet, and so you actually do properly learn. So I got lucky. I found a partner in crime, Luke Tagaris, and between the two of us, we basically sat there pair programming and doing test first, test driven, merciless refactoring, all of the XP stuff for about 6 weeks. And then there was a group meeting, and one of the database architects said, "Okay, I want to know which one of you bastards is doing these automated test things." And so it's us. Okay, I want everyone here to do what you are doing because this is saving our ass. Every time we run a migration, we know what we broke. It's fantastic. So we got the group over the line on the technical strength of things. But I didn't think of myself as an agile coach because there was no such thing. I didn't think of myself as a Scrum Master because Scrum wasn't even a noise. I mean, yeah, there was the new product development paper, but no one was selling certificates. And besides which, I'm not certain that has anything to do with Agile anything. So to cut a long story short, it wasn't until about 10 years after that I went into a role. It was for ThoughtWorks in Sydney. And their client was the second largest insurer in Australia, and AMP. And AMP had bought off on this idea called Scrum. And so they said, "Okay, we want you to come and do this coaching job, but you have to call yourself a Scrum Master." I said, "Does that limit what I can actually do?" And they said, "Well, you tell us." I said, "No, it doesn't." And they said, "Good. Okay, go do it." And so after that, I still didn't call myself a Scrum Master except when I had to.
Yeah, I mean, you had too much history to be able to fit into a role as wide and as narrow as a Scrum Master role. But
that's
Peter,
a nice way to put it.
But Peter, of course, as we go through this journey of learning to do it on our feet, as you said, from your first attempt at XP, we need to learn through our own failures. Of course we do.
Absolutely.
And we want to share those because people out there will definitely have a laugh and then remember that learning forever. So tell us that story, Peter.
Okay. So you want to know about where it failed? Oh man, it failed a lot. It was really good. I mean, the whole idea is to fail fast. So as long as you can pick yourself up and dust yourself off, that's good. But I'll talk about two failures, if it's okay with you, Vasco. So the first failure was that first role. It was the residential finance arm of General Motors at GMAC. I was architecting a system that saw a lot of use during the global financial crisis because it was all about B and C quality loans, all that stuff that defaulted. It all went through the system that I was architecting, or the group that I was working with building. And the trouble was that XP, it had a coach role, it had a tracker role, it had a customer role. It didn't have a manager role. And after about 6 months of really very nice success, we were getting along really well. The project manager, and I don't think he'd mind me using his name, so I will. Mike Alakom sat down with me one evening after work, and he said, "Peter, I've never seen anything like this. This is amazing. The business love it, and the technical qualities is just." All of the apologetics that I usually have to do in my role is not there. And I don't have to meet with the business because the business are meeting directly or daily with the developers and the testers. And they're all collaborating, and that's great. And so I just want to know one thing. What do I do?
And most dangerous question ever.
Yeah. No, I think that usually there are romantic questions that are more dangerous than that. But one of the most dangerous management questions, and I gave the stupidest answer I could possibly have given. I said, "Well, Mike, you don't really have a role in this process." Yeah. So the next day, Mike called an all hands meeting, and it was like something out of Dickens. And he basically very calmly and gently and politely put me in a situation where I had no choice but to say that this entire way of working was Mike's idea, and effectively that Mike is going to be coaching you from now on. And I stuck around for another 6 months, which was fine. So it wasn't, the end of the world, but I was sort of doing things at a remove at that point, and good on him. That was exactly what he should have done. I think, one of your later questions is how do you know you succeeded? If you have worked yourself out of a job, then you've succeeded. Anyway, if I was Mike, I would have done the same thing. Where this went from that point on, it caused a real change in the way process worked inside General Motors as a whole, and that was fine. But I knew I needed to go into the next role, which happened to be a startup, and that's a different story. That one was also not a failure, so I won't go there. The other failure I wanted to talk about, and I don't know, you have to keep me honest when it comes to time, because I can guess on.
We should wrap it up, yeah. But tell us that second real story.
So in 2005, I think it was, I went into Commonwealth Bank of Australia, which is the largest banking group in Australia. And I have a larger story to tell about them later on. But I went in ostensibly to coach Agile and architect things, but I was going in to be used. And the whole reason I was there to do Agile was so that there would be a ripcord that could be used to get me out of the business, because it was too early for that business to do anything Agile, much less Scrum.
Yeah. And that does happen. And it's important for us to be able to detect if that's about to happen. So when did you detect that that's what you were being framed to do?
Well, I think the reason I wanted to tell this particular story was that I was indeed framed, and it became very blindingly obvious because the delivery manager, very nice man, Des Webster, called me into his office, and he sat me down. He said, well, so some of the developers have been saying you've been doing this thing called Agile, and I don't understand it. I want you to explain it to me. So I spent the next 2 days explaining what we were doing and why we were doing it to Des. And after a couple of days, Dave said, it's really good. I really like these ideas. But I manage a group of 500 developers, and we haven't prepared any of them for any of this. So I can't support you in this. And what's more, you were set up to fail. You were brought into this business to do things this way, and no one asked me, and I can't allow that to happen. So I just can't support you. And he walked out of the room. And about 2 weeks later, I walked out of that business, and I thought I would never work in that bank again. About 6 years later, everybody that I had coached had moved up, and it became the most fertile ground you could possibly have for running an Agile transformation.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages of working as a consultant, is that you can afford to plant the seeds, because you can go on and do other stuff and then come back and help them germinate.
Yeah, exactly. So a failure is not a failure. A failure is just the first step.
First step. I really like how you framed it, Peter. Thank you very much for sharing those stories with us.
I'll add one more thing on that, but we might come back to it. But that second engagement with CBA turned into the most successful transformation that I coached. I was principal coach for 50,000 people. And after 3.5 years, I stood on stage with the group CIO, Michael Hart, before he went off to the one he gave a Jonathan Smart. Doesn't matter. I'll come back to that. And he said to all of his direct reports, Agile is one of the 5 pillars of this bank's future. And then had me talk for 10 minutes. So just because you got fired, just because you hit the wall, don't look at that as the end. Look at it as the beginning.
Indeed. Hi there, friends. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the episode. So let me tell you what's coming. On May 4th, we're running the Global Agile Summit. It will be online, and I want you there. This year, we have 4 tracks, and each one is built around real conversations with practitioners. No slides, no keynote theater, just honest interviews with people doing the work, just like you. The first track is AI in organizations, where practitioners show what actually works. No hype, just AI that makes your Monday better. Happy Monday, everybody. And then we have the people track, honest conversations about putting humans at the center of how we work and keeping them there. And third is Agile in construction. And yes, I really mean brick and mortar construction. Lean and Agile actual job sites. Field leaders removing waste, teams transforming how buildings get built. Stay tuned for what I think will be a super track on Agile in construction. And the fourth track is Agile in gaming, how game studios ship without burning out. Agile inside the creative pressure cooker. Over the years, we've had more than 12,000 participants since 2017, the time of the first summit organized with the podcast. And this year, we're making it easier than ever to join. You can register for free and get access to the summit sessions live during the event week. That's May 4th to May 6th. Or you can grab the practitioner pass and get immediate access to last year's keynotes from Jürgen Appelo, Gojko Adzic, and Mirete Kangas. Right now, even before the summit starts. So grab your practitioner pass and start learning today. Head on over to bit.ly/Global Agile 26. That's 26, the numerals 2 and 6. Sign up, and I'll see you on May the 4th. And one more time, here we go, bit.ly/Global Agile 26. All lowercase, all one word, and 26, that's the numeral 2 and the numeral 6. I'll see you on the conference floor.